All right. So from there, our pass rush games, and it's important for us to know our objectives as coaches and our players of why we run pass rush games, right? And for us coaches is to exploit the man side and the zone side of the protection with scheme, right? So whatever you like to run towards a zone side protection or a man side protection, it's so important to identify where teams are sliding towards and what they're trying to get out of it, right? And then at the end of the day, our kids need to know when we run pass rush games, the biggest thing is get the offensive line on different levels. That's how you're going to create space. It's how we're going to be able to get towards the quarterback, right? We want to be aggressive in our penetration and believable in our occupation, right? Because we have what we call penetrators and we call them scrapers, but people that are responsible for occupying someone while the penetration happens. And again, finally, finishing with rush lane integrity. So our rush lane terminology does not change if we're running in this case, this is Mexico, which is just two me games, right? Two ends first games. Every team in the nation runs this, but it's important of how you explain it. But at the end of the day, our tackles need to understand they are still deep shoulder contain rushers. Our ends now are eye rushers. All right. So from there, right when we teach this and we run Mexico, right, our penetrators, right, in this case are our defensive ends because they're going to be the ones that are going first, right? So what do they need to do? The first thing they need to do, and they should know this, number one is sell speed, right? Sell speed up the field. That takeoff that we talked about in the last clinic, the passers clinic, that takeoff looks the same no matter what. Those first two steps look the same, whether I'm doing a speed rush, whether I'm doing a counter rush, a power rush, right? Or whether I'm running a game, right? My first two steps up the field need to look the same. I'm gaining ground. From there, right? Understand that these tackles aren't going to just let you go inside. They're going to throw hands at you. So we talk about winning with hands, right? And then when we talk about winning with hands, it's throwing that outside arm, and I try to tell them to I don't force them, but I try to tell them to work a chop. And the reason we work a chop is because what we're trying to do next, which is ricochet. And when we ricochet, we're talking about just like a bullet ricochets. We're talking about being low, being a penetrator and going through the hip or that midsection of the guard. And when we get through that, when we pick, right, when we pick that guard, we need to ricochet and get vertical towards the quarterback. Because however these guys sum this thing up or try to lock this thing up, it's either the tackle's going to come off for the scraper, which is our defensive tackle, or um, or they're going to try to stay with it. And if they try to stay with it, we got to use the pick is great to free up the D tackle. And if they try to switch it, right, we have to understand we got to get vertical after we penetrate, right? Our scrapers, our defensive tackles in this case, right? Their job is to occupy those guards. So it's important for them not just to understand, oh, I'm just gonna stay inside and pretend to rush. No, who are you trying to occupy? Right? Because that's who we're trying to run the game on. So we're trying to occupy the guard, whether you're in a three technique or you're in a two eye. And there's two ways that we teach that. One way is like the cha-cha, that old the cha-cha where they're coming down and they pretend they're running a game with each other, maybe, so they can get the guards' attentions to be inside. Maybe there's an inside game, right? And then we're able to use a penetrator to take out that midsection to hip and ricochet, right? Or we talk about having light hands, right? Pretending that I'm trying to rush them, but I'm not pushing them back into the pocket. I'm using light hands. I'm not trying to, because again, the number one job of running the D line game is to get the guys on different levels. And if I just come off and knock them back, are we getting them on different levels? No, right? Because our DNs are doing a great job of selling speed up the field. We want that tackle to kick back. We don't want the guard to kick back. We want the guard to be on us and we want to occupy them. So, um, so we use a light hands technique, which you'll see as well, right? Their second job is to let the penetration happen, right? We don't, and we do that with our eyes mostly, right? We don't want to be there occupying a guard and then looking to our left because then what's the guard going to do? He's going to snap his eyes outside to look for any type of penetration that's happening. It's third down and whatever. They know games are going to come, right? Which is why we have to do a great job of switching it up as well, giving them free rushes, doing different things schematically. But they know there's going to be a game alert on third down. This is college football. This is high school football. It's any level of football. But you have to let the penetration happen, make it believable in our occupation, right? And then finally, we're gonna scrape tight towards the rush lane. You see a lot of guys, um, right when this penetration does happen, we want to be as tight as possible, run a tight hoop, and still end up in our that deep shoulder and be able to contain. I love this clip from this past year for good and bad reasons. So right here, um, if we look on this side, running Mexico, right, a really good job of nine Dylan getting out of his stance and at least selling it to make that offensive tackle kick back and create space in between himself and the guard, right? Really good job by Neil. This is what we would talk about the cha-cha. But when you cha-cha, we don't want to be look where his eyes are. His eyes are the other side of the line of scrimmage, right? So our understanding that if this is the man side, that this guard is going to step down with us because he's going to expect some type of penetration or loop from the outside. So it's a really good job by Neil being believable in his occupation of occupying the guard. A really good job by Flex, right? And here we go. So what is it? It's sell with speed, beat the hands, ricochet, right? There's him throwing the inside chop, beating the hands, which brings him low, which brings him towards that hip and midsection, right? A lot of guys now it's not the end of the world, but a lot of guys naturally will rip up here. But if we rip up into the air, are we in a great position of power to be a great penetrator and ricochet off the guard? I don't think we are. So we try to teach chop, be low, right? Explode through that offensive guard, right? He pops back up and he makes a play. We call it hot stove. If you're on the ground, hot stove, pop back up, make a play. Really good job by Dylan here. And again, here's Neil scraping tight, as tight as we can, right? Understand we're at the level of the quarterback, work back, right? So it's a really good job on that side. Okay, now we look at the other side, and it's not, right? So on this side, defensive end's job in Mexico, sell with speed, right? Are we selling with speed here? No, right? We're false stepping, and we're just working inside automatically. You can see when you sell with speed, different levels. When we don't sell with speed, same level, right? The defensive tackle's job, who are we trying to occupy? We are trying to occupy the guards, right? So if we're working towards the center, are we occupying the guard? Not really, because this is the zone side of the protection now. Is he worried about you? No, right? So obviously he's in a good position to see the penetrator. They get a punch on the penetrator that doesn't win with hands, right? They're all on the same level, right? And we're not in a great position to run the game. It kills the game from before it even starts, right? So the importance of selling with speed, the importance of occupying the right people and working the technique. But you can see one side really good, one side not so good, right? On the other end, here it is again, right? Now we're running from 2-3 techniques. So now both guys can cha-cha or both guys can use hands, right? So 93 here, if I'm looking left to right. We get a better job selling by 8. But again, we got to eliminate the false step. We get a better job selling by 8. I think 93 is decent. I don't like that he snaps out so far. Let the penetration happen, which we're going to work on this year. But a really good job by 8 staying up. I think he stays up on this one. Staying up, being able to try to work back inside. 93, I would love if he just sat it down right here. Understanding that he's a deep shoulder contained player. We can't just run by the quarterback. But a decent job with the game there. If we watch 58, this is what we call light hands, right? Where I'm bringing my hands to him, making him believe that he is blocking me full on one-on-one or whatever it may be, right? Which takes his attention away from the penetrator, right? From the penetration standpoint, decent job working upfield. Again, we are low at the point of attack through the offensive guard's hip, ricocheting to get vertical. And the thing that you have to, we have to continue to teach and continue to talk about, it's just running through the smoke. Like when you're a penetrator, it's aggressive. You're a bullet. Like you got to run through the smoke. And at the end of the day, sometimes you're gonna have to run through a dude's you're gonna have to run through a dude's face and be able to make a play. So right here, right, same idea. So Dartmouth had a really good game plan. They were getting the ball off really quick. And they were doing a really good job of it. So we made an adjustment at halftime. Hey, instead of running the games up the field and under. Let's just hit them now, right? So now you take away the set with speed because the ball's getting out so fast, but you're able to try to just win quick right now. So we still occupy, right? But a really good job of watching nine. Sometimes running through that smoke, being a penetrator, it's a mindset, right? Times you just got to run through a dude's face, and low pad level, eyes under chin, right? Using your hands, running the feet through, getting a quarterback hit. That's a decision. That's a decision that he made prior to that snap of what he was going to do, which was awesome to see. Um, just for interception purposes, what we teach our guys, right? Make sure we get a block, right? We take the defensive line is always going to be responsible for blocking the quarterback. Be smart in the case, but the reason we say that is because the quarterback's going to be the first person that sees the ball intercepted because he's going to be throwing the football to where he wants it to go. So make sure that we block the quarterback. In this case, it was smart by Dylan not to do anything bad in that case. But right, what does it look like ideally? Right now, you saw the R clips, but now watch these guys, and this is why they get paid millions of dollars to do it. Right, so if you watch 93, you can see, I mean, excuse me, 97, the defensive tackle. Like if you're 73, I don't even know how you're supposed to try to block this. This looks like a complete game inside or a one-on-one opportunity. A really good job selling by both guys. This one rips underneath, and if we rip is fine. Now you're going to be able to occupy two people. You know what I mean? And still be low and collapse the edge. When we talk about running that tight hoop, this is just elite, right? Like look how tight this thing is. Right, really good job running the game in there. From the Jaguars, right? Again, it's just like the mindset of a penetrator, right? Being low, taking out guys. It's going to be a dirty job, right? We pride ourselves on dirty jobs. Somebody's got to do it, right? That's why we play defensive line, but it's a really good job by them.